There was a sharp trajectory to institutionalize people. So there was a kind of a growth of institutionalization that really was part of post Civil War societies.
It's important to know that when states started to open mental hospitals, that there were a lot of misdiagnoses when it came to people who had different cultures. They also misdiagnosed many women because their husbands and sons were legally allowed to declare them as insane. These helped build out the need for mental health institutions in the late 19th and early 20th centuries.
Legal cases started to pop up from people who were institutionalized and their families about the really awful treatment of people in mental health institutions. And those really sprung up through the civil rights era. So we're talking 1950s, really into 1980s. And it led to a releasing of people. So there was a sense that the government is spending too much money on institutionalizing people. And so we started to see people being released from mental health institutions in a trickle that turned into a little bit of a stream. Corresponding with that is a rise of homelessness. And it's not that people who have mental health issues are naturally inclined to be homeless. That's actually the incorrect argument that's been made. That's not the correlation. The correlation is that when you release people who you've institutionalized and separated from society, when you release them into society without the resources in order to integrate into society, then they don't have resources in order to actually find housing and food and housing and food security.
The Philadelphia State Hospital, more known as Byberry, opened its doors during 1911 and was home for thousands of mental patients. However, by the late 1980s, it was regarded as a clinical and management nightmare, which soon caused them to close their doors in the early 1990s. Another hospital in Pennsylvania is the Norristown State Hospital, also known as the State Lunatic Hospital at Norristown, which opened in 1876. In 2017, plans to close the hospital were announced. By the start of 2019, 38 of the remaining 67 people residing at Norristown had moved to community treatment settings. In the last 20 years, the hospital's population has decreased by 70%. With the closing of mental institutions and the lack of resources, many former patients encounter police. Approximately 2 million people with mental illnesses are booked into jail each year.